everyone, and welcome. I am Juan Koshichi, blockchain developer, and I will be monitoring this conversation about the implementation of Brazil regulatory framework for virtual assets and service providers. So, the first question will be to Daniel. So, da sua perspectiva na área de compliance, o que mudou operacionalmente com a transição do Banco Central da Lei 14.478 para os requisitos detalhados das VASPs?
Bom, obrigado pela pergunta. Inicialmente, a Lei 14.478 trouxe um grande alívio para o mercado, né? Ela foi sancionada em 2022, em dezembro de 2022, aos 45 do segundo tempo. Então, trouxe uma luz para aquelas exchanges que já operavam no Brasil e que gostariam de participar desse arcabouço regulatório junto ao Banco Central. Depois dela, veio aí um decreto que institucionalizou, né, o Banco Central como responsável, como órgão regulador, para figurar nesse arcabouço normativo como instituição responsável. Então, é isso.
Sure. Now a question for JJ. For a security and market structure perspective, which requirements will most clearly separate prepared operator from unprepared ones?
Can you repeat the
question? Which requirements will most clearly separate prepared operators from the prepared ones?
I don't think there's a single regulation rule that will separate the prepared ones and unprepared ones. I think the unprepared ones are the ones that are I shouldn't say negligency, but it's to that effect. I think Brazilian market, in the Brazilian markets, the central bank is doing a marvelous job of, providing the guidelines for the institutions to get into the regulation track. And this has been going on for the past year and a little bit more, even more than that. And so with that, I think, the entities that running their operations within Brazil are, they face a determination point where whether they wanted to get into the regulation track or not. And this is it's a decision that's really upon to them. It's really not about what rules they implement. What rules the central bank rolls out.
Ok, amazing. Agora para o Daniel, uma pergunta aqui sobre regulação. A regulação como catalisador, não como um gargalo, o que você diretamente ali participou do processo de consulta do Banco Central e como tem sido esse diálogo na prática?
Certo. O Banco Central vem, através das consultas públicas, né, buscando gerar um termômetro do mercado, identificar aí através dos players, dos escritórios de advocacia, enfim, de toda a sociedade como um todo, quais seriam os ideais, né, os objetivos para esse tipo de mercado, e aí ele deu liberdade para cada player, enfim, buscar se orientar, né, se basear no texto de lei que já estava sendo discutido, oferecer propostas, sugestões de melhoria, e nós, com a parceria através da B-Token, nós conseguimos responder algumas das exigências aí, das questões aí, das consultas públicas 109, 110, 111, realizadas pelo Banco Central em meados de 2023, 2024, e até que originou as resoluções aí 519, 520 e 521, que trouxe o papel fundamental de regular, de fato, esse mercado de criptoativos no Brasil.
Show, show. Agora uma pergunta para o JJ. So, when a regulatory framework becomes clear, what actually changes inside the institutional investment or a risk committee?
From my point of view, I think when the institution decides to enter the digital assets world, when they're deciding to start with some initiatives on the digital assets, there's a clear, from the BCB point of view, they have rolled out a clear requirements on not only for the VASPs, but also for the operators within this market. And this really kind of distinguished, just like how I answered from the last question, was that this really distinguished the ones that are deciding to be on the regulated track and the ones that are decide not to do it. And this, of course, will add some extra, requires some extra effort from the institutions that decides to stay on this regulated track, like Coins.xyz has done a marvelous job of getting onto that track. So and this really is an enabler for a mass adoption of crypto initiatives. And we really think that this is a good sign for the market, and this will enable a new technology to come in and create more value for the general public.
Amazing, I totally agree. So, agora eu vou perguntar pro Daniel aqui, do ponto de vista jurídico, o que especificamente na nova estrutura torna o Brasil mais legível para o capital estrangeiro e também para o capital institucional?
Certo.
Essas novas regulações, né?
Perfeito. O Brasil tem se tornado bem atrativo para investimento estrangeiro, empresas estrangeiras que queiram operar com clientes nacionais brasileiros, né? Queiram operar BRL real. Principalmente por causa do Pix, né, uma possibilidade aí que o Banco Central deu de converter essa moeda fiat em valor digital. E assim, as empresas estrangeiras eles veem com bons olhos esse mercado no sentido de ter regulação, ter um órgão institucional regulador, ter leis e práticas, enfim, empresas que sejam estruturadas, né, bem organizadas com governança, compliance, estrutura de riscos, enfim, políticas próprias. Então, o mercado vem crescendo cada vez mais em relação a isso.
Okay. Now, a question for JJ. How important is the dialogue between regulators, operators, and security companies when technical and operational standards are being developed?
Extremely important. We're very pleased to see that how easily accessible the central bank is to the general public. 2 days ago, hosted by Token, discussing about the possibility of giving extensions to the deadlines of October, by the end of October for IN 701 related licensing. This is quite amazing because I would say that we never got such a treatment from the other countries in the world. I think because blockchain is a new technology, and it's a quite revolutionary technology. It's, from what we have seen, 70% of the large institutions have some digital assets developments within their companies, and this is a great sign. But however, because it's such a new thing and it hasn't been matured, so everybody is really learning and trying to mix the innovation with the regulation, and so it's very essential for the regulators, for the builders, and for the security companies like us to work together and find a good solution and sensible solution that not only will encourage the innovation, but also it will merge the regulations and to promote the safety of such a new technology while it's deployed to the general public.
Show. Então, agora ali para o Daniel, uma pergunta é o seguinte: como você foi responsável por seguir com esse licenciamento, né, e produzir todo esse processo, de que maneira o DNA de compliance da Coins ele se reflete na prática, no cotidiano, para você, como uma empresa, conseguir obter essa licença de VASP?
Obrigado pela pergunta. A Coins.xyz ela foi a primeira VASP autorizada nas Filipinas. Nós já temos licença em Maurícios, buscando licença em demais outros países que estejam sob o arcabouço regulatório. E no Brasil, a mesma coisa, nós estamos buscando a qualidade na documentação, preparando todo o caminho, somando todos os esforços possíveis, junto com parceiros como a CertiK, por exemplo, para obter, assim, o quanto antes, estar preparado para esse momento de regulação do Banco Central, até o final de outubro, obtermos a licença e estarmos cumprindo com todos os requisitos da primeira fase.
Show. Muito importante essa questão de estar sempre em compliance com as leis, justamente para poder operar, e também estar localmente em cada região, estar ali de acordo com o regulamento local. Então, now I will ask a question for JJ. When a global company enters in a regulated market, such Brazil, if you are in Brazil, you can be on any market, but what independent evidence showed regulators, institutional partners, and user should look for?
From what perspective? Like
in the perspective of what they need to look, or what they need to understand for the company, that is important. So they see, oh, this company, it's okay, I can trust on this company, and by the regulation, it's okay, I will not have troubles with the government, or not will have troubles using their platform.
I see. This is a great question. I think if you look at from a risk management point of view, right, there are few steps that, or few categories that a company are looking at or operating within. The first one, it's about being compliant to the local regulation. Second is that to build the infrastructure can support their operation within this region. And then third, it's about whether they have necessary on-chain monitorings that, because of the uniqueness of a blockchain, right? They need to have a sound on-chain solutions to monitor their ongoing operations. And fourth, it's about, they need to have some, OPSEC procedures that can deal with the emerging situations when some incidents are happening. So those are the four categories that usually a large institution, when they enter a new market, this is what they will look at it. And it's about And of course, when the company coming to a new market like Brazil, they'll look at whether those 4 categories have a clear definition to it, and then they will decide on their their path for it. For instance, if a company uses the AWS service worldwide, or is the AWS service it's strong enough to support their Brazilian operation. If they're expecting a large usage or a lot of transactions happening within that, can the infrastructure support it? And then it comes down to, for instance, on-chains and also incident response team when if they have enough operation to support it, for instance, reporting to the police when an incident happens, and then freeze the assets, across different platforms, and then also, answering some legal challenges. And those are all something that those corporations needs to consider. And then lastly, it's about building the consumer confidence. That's also very, very important. Yeah.
Amazing. Agora, uma pergunta para o Daniel, pensando assim de um ano para frente, como é que você enxergaria um sinal assim que o framework ele foi implementado de uma maneira correta, que deu certo essa implementação? Porque agora a gente ainda tem muitas leis, o pessoal ainda está estruturando, algumas mais pesadas, outras que abrem um pouco mais, mas como que você enxerga daqui a um ano para você ver assim, quais parâmetros você usaria para saber se a implementação desse framework ela deu certo ou não?
Boa pergunta. Cada vez mais buscar uma estrutura robusta de governança e compliance, PLDFT, enfim, o risk assessment e, enfim, o Banco Central, enquanto o mercado está caminhando, ele vai regulando, vai buscando orientações, as consultas públicas do mercado, e vai desenvolvendo cada vez mais o arcabouço normativo. Então, já houve uma evolução muito grande desde a Lei 14.478, e agora a gente vem verificando um Banco Central cada vez mais especializado no assunto, com maior propriedade, maior conhecimento, para poder dar o aval final, né, de que a instituição está, de fato, em compliance e pode, enfim, continuar desenvolvendo suas atividades. Então, a fase 1 aí, desse momento, até o final de outubro, em que as empresas terão a possibilidade de fazer suas aplicações, seria o termômetro para verificar assim, como o Banco Central vem vendo, né, essa documentação, essas evidências de atividades, como estão os controles, a questão da cybersecurity, enfim. Então, é isso.
So, JJ, from your security and marketing perspective, and also from the market perspective, what you see about the Brazilian regulations and their company's compliance and things related with that, what you see as a parameter to see if we have success with that?
If you have what?
If we had success with the
success.
regulation, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, from a CertiK point of view, we have been working with a lot of local regulators through, around the globe. And we see a great development over in Asia, in Middle East, and North America and South America, and also Europe. I have to say that each region we see very distinct differences, where they are looking at they're prioritizing what their emphasis is. For instance, MiCA is so very much looking at from the consumer protection point of view. The U.S. are very much looking at the deployment of the stable coins, and then here I will have to say that I think Brazil Central Bank again, they did a great job on. They're probably have the most detailed regulations about the crypto currency. In that perspective, they're leading the world on this. And but of course, with any of the new ideas being deployed, there will be some adoption period where the local companies needs to comply with the regulations. This definitely will create some work, but we're very bullish about Brazil market. We see very good use cases of the crypto or blockchain technologies in this market, and I think this is very suitable for the mass adoption.
Oh, amazing. Was a pleasure to talk with you guys. And for the final and the conclusion part, I would like to know if you guys want to give some final consideration about these things that we talk about, or if I can move for my conclusions. Why do you guys?
Bom, minha palavra final é mais agradecer, né, a oportunidade, a parceria ao lado da CertiK, do JJ, e buscando cada vez mais estreitar os laços aí no mercado cripto. Esse evento tem sido muito bom para o crescimento, enfim, intelectual, conhecimento das boas práticas do mercado, né, onde a gente está atuando. Então, é isso. Só agradecer.
First of all, I want to thank you, Daniel, for this fireside chat. It was such a pleasure. And thanks to Juan for moderating it. I think, CertiK is a company established back in 2018. And we are considered as the largest security provider in this industry. And we have decided to enter this market to provide our services not only in the security services, such like auditing, penetration, but also in the compliance-related services and advisory service. And we're here for the long run, and hoping to to work with many of the players in this market, including the Coins.xyz. And to promote the use case of blockchain technology.
Yeah, I will just give some conclusions about the conversation today. Is that Brazil have a really complex framework to companies operate on, but I believe that if it is done well, Brazil could be a regional reference for that. And it's not just about the regulations. The companies need to care about security, to care about compliance. So be compliant with the regulation. It's great, it's amazing, but if you don't have a company like CertiK or a company that we look and say, oh, you're okay, your security are audited, we need this to have trust. So my final conclusion is that Brazil is a challenging market. Brazil have a lot of regulations, but at the end of the day, the companies that focus on security, focus on deliver a better service. And if Brazil regulators put effort on big reference, Brazil will be on the crypto markets in the world.
Totally agree.
Thank you, guys.